Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. It's your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold. I'm Bob Matthews. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day of coverage. Well, here we are, just a little over a week until rookies report to camp. And, yep, we are talking about Terry McLaurin's contract again. A couple of scraps for all of us to pounce on like a bunch of hungry dogs. Dan Quinn revealing through one of the national reporters and stuff that he's been keeping in touch with McLaurin all through the offseason. And you like to see that from DQ for obvious reasons. Number one, he wants to keep Terry engaged in things, and there's no reason to think he wouldn't be. After all, as we've said before, McLaurin is a pro's pro, and it means there's going to be less of a ramp-up time with new concepts and stuff once McLaurin gets into camp, which, as we said, we are fully expecting to happen probably in the next week, maybe during training camp, and at the very least sometime before the, I'd say, third week of the season. And I only say that because there's a precedent for holdouts like that. You look at Emmitt Smith back with the Cowboys. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Now, as for McLaurin and the future of where things go, we got a little bit of news, some scraps on that yesterday as well. If you're looking as far as how much that McLaurin is going to get paid, it comes in somewhere around $30 million a year. And where you get that from is, and this is not, new to me, you can look at any one of a number of people. But Joel Corey, a former agent, kind of explained it pretty well when talking earlier this week, saying, why it's going to be a little bit north of $30 million a season. He says, you take the contracts of the last six wide receivers named either a first or second team All-Pro last season. Collectively, those six, their salaries come out to $722.61 million in new money for 22 contract years. It works out to an average of $32.8 million a year. So McLaurin is the oldest of these. There are A.J. Brown, I think was 27 when he got his deal. The other four, 25 or close to being 25, he said, when they got signed. So if I think what we're looking at is it's probably the hang-up of $2 to $3 million is probably what's keeping this deal from happening. And by the time we get, I think by the time we get to next week when veterans report, or a couple of weeks from now, right around the 22nd, I still think that we're going to see McLaurin signed by that point. But as the world turns, we will have to see. There was also a report out today saying that McLaurin is not trying to reset the market. That's another reason why I think this deal's going to get done. If Terry isn't looking to reset the market, that means he's not looking for something, $37, $38, $39 million a year. I think if they come up with, between 30 and 32, that's going to be just fine. I think he'll sign it, and I think the whole thing will be over and done. But, every day that it drags on is another day closer to camp and another day that he is not signed, and this thing keeps hanging over the team. So I guess we will see. But again, I'm expecting it to happen sometime in the next 10 days or so. Should the Commanders make one more move in the defensive secondary? Well, if you listen to PFF, Pro Football Focus, they say yes. Came out with their defensive back position group rankings the other day. It's got the Commanders secondary ranked 28th, and the teams just behind them aren't in real good shape. Carolina, which is, of course, going through a rebuild right now. Miami, Dallas, Las Vegas, not exactly what you call contenders. Contenders possibly for a wild card spot, but I guess the one good thing is Miami, Dallas, and Las Vegas. Those three teams make up 4 games on the Commanders' schedule, so you can look at it that way. It is what it is. The numbers are what the numbers are, but I think there is a good chance that Stephon Lattimore has a bounce back season this year. Mikey Sanders still. We think he's going to continue to grow. So, who knows? Is it a concern? Yeah, but you got to figure that that with the guys that they have in camp, I think they're going to roll with what they have. Trey Amos, they think that he can be a starter, if not right away, sometime within the first half of the season. And they think that having Will Harris in the safety, playing safety this year, replacing Jeremy Chin, while it may be a little bit of a downgrade, there's enough talent there to make up for it. We will start finding out in less than 2 weeks. Finally, we want to do a little viewer mail because I got a really good one yesterday that I want to highlight. And again, thank you to everybody who has both commented and has subscribed. But it was a comment from Terry Windsor 9779. So, Terry, thank you very much for this. He said, you say no chance for the old logo. What about at least the feathers to start with? What's your take? Terry, that's a really interesting, it's an interesting question because I'm not saying no on that. The question is just going to be how much goodwill and political capital would Josh Harris and the team want to spend to get, as we were talking about, a spear with the feathers on the helmet. Again, if it happens, first thing you're going to hear about is people saying, oops, slippery slope, and it's too close to the old logo. But I think the more this team wins in the next few years, the more of a reality that might be. I don't see it happening, in 2026 or 2027. But if they put a spear, that gladiator-type spear on the helmet, say next year, I think a few more years of winning, and yeah, I think it is a possibility. I don't know if it's the right, move. I think they would definitely get some blowback on it, but if you're a team that at that point has, been contending for several years or possibly even, say, by 2028 or 2029 have won a Super Bowl, who knows, maybe two, depending on how it goes with Jaden, I think it's definitely a possibility. We shall see. And thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. It's going to do it for us. We got to get out of here. Don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button. So you don't miss a day of it. Have a great weekend. We will see you next week as we get ready for rookies to report to Ashburn. And like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.